everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this very short second part of our Best Real Estate Company Friday Focus. We had Heather McMahon on the first half, and she talked to us about a really interesting service that her company, Home Sweet Home Advisors, provides. If you guys are looking for more information about that, want to figure out how to go ahead and get started, please let me know. I am going to attach some information to the podcast so that you can have that to review as you're looking over things and listening to what she's saying about the service that they provide. I do think that if you play your cards right, it will help you to be able to grow your pipeline deep and wide, because you'll always have people that you're working with in order to get them ready for the home buyer process. Also, like I said, there's different types of scenarios that occur where you may be able to use the service or have someone use it. And so I strongly suggest that you guys check out that information. Go ahead and sign up, and because you never know what the future may hold. I do have a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys about that it basically come from Inman News this week. I knew that we were going to have Miss Heather on, so I didn't want to, do too much to overwhelm things. But I did find a few short stories that I thought, they're not stories, they're the truth of what's happening in our industry. But I thought that these things were very important. And this particular article that you see right now is really hitting home for me. It's so ironic. I actually had a conversation with one of our agents whom I very much love and respect deeply. And that agent was talking to me about the benefits of joining, the benefits of supporting our RPAC. And I believe that this person is actually on a committee or something that has to do with RPAC. And so, her thing was, we really need to support it so that we can have a seat at the table. She said some other things. We were just having a conversation, and she made some very valid points. One of the points that I made, though, was that I look at the candidates that are being put up for us to choose, from, or to be able, for that our RPAC organization is considering, I should say that. And then I go and look at those people's history and background. And sadly for me, our local RPAC board, committee and our state RPAC committee have not really chosen to support candidates that I felt represented the best interests of all the parties involved here in our state. And so, me and this person had, this conversation. And so it's just funny that a couple of months after that, this article pops up. And it's basically talking about how some Tennessee real estate agents are revolting against RPAC after the state's redistricting. So if you guys haven't been keeping up, I know a lot of people aren't political. But if you work in real estate, at some point you need to understand some things about politics. And basically what they're saying is, because of what I like to call gerrymandering, they split up the district, the 9th district, which was our district, for the state Congress, and they put us into 3 separate other districts. So part of us went to District 8, part went to District 5, and part went to District 9, which you can see right here. So, a lot of District 8 took Shelby County, but there are certain parts like the Southwest, all the way up to the Northwest, and then some of the Southeast on over to the East went into a different districts. And basically what they're saying is, what the Tennessee real estate agents are saying is that In the past 5 years, 3 top Republican officials who led the charge to redraw the state's congressional maps collectively received $407,000 in campaign contributions from the Tennessee Association of Realtors, according to a campaign finance records database compiled by the Tennessee Lookout, which I follow. And then it says, following heated protests of the redistricting process, some Tennessee real estate agents are demanding answers and asking why their contributions to the Tennessee Association of Realtors Political Action Committee, or RPAC, go to politicians that they say violate the association's code of ethics. And so then they give you a money trail here, and they show how in the past 5 years, RPAC for the state of Tennessee roughly gave $1.9 million in campaign contributions to state politicians. The Tennessee Republican Caucus received $272,000 of those dollars during that period, while the Tennessee Democratic Caucus received only $94,000. The $1.9 million that was raised in campaign contributions over the past 5 years was the most in the state, slightly ahead of HCA Healthcare and Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of Tennessee. So there's only one other political PAC that raised more money than the Realtors, and it's this one, HCA Healthcare, these two, HCA Healthcare and Wine and Spirit Wholesalers. Over the past 5 years, the House Speaker Cameron Sexton, who eventually led the redistricting effort, received $190,000 from Tennessee Association of Realtors, tying it as his largest donor. And so it just goes on and on from there. And then they come down to why those principles should not disappear. And our very own Memphis-based Rodney Tate Jr., if you don't know Rodney Tate, he is an agent with Assured Real Estate Services. That is Cheryl Muhammad. He is a local instructor, so he instructs classes. Some of you probably have taken some classes from him at the Memphis Area Association of Realtors. And so he is a realtor. And then Nathan Weinberg, co-founder and principal broker at MW Real Estate in Nashville, published an op-ed in the Tennessee Lookout on June 2nd that directly called out the Tennessee Association of Realtors. And it says, as licensed professionals, realtors are held to high ethical standards. Those principles should not disappear when political contributions are involved. They cited, as they should, the Article 10 of the Realtor Code of Ethics, which prohibits discrimination based on race, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. They noted that Tennessee Realtors' own website states that candidates may lose funding if they violate those standards. Tate and Weinberg argued that the standard hasn't been enforced in this particular case. And they're also saying that we do not get a clear picture of how our dollars are being spent in terms of when it comes to RPAC. They don't give us a clear picture of how they pick the candidates that they're going to support. The other thing is that the agents are saying that the redistricting isn't just a political problem. It is not. It is a housing story. And then we have Colleen Weiss, who is also a Nashville-based realtor, says that she is leaving the state. She's originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, and she moved to Nashville in 2009 and received her real estate license in 2022. She and her husband plan to return to Minnesota very soon. She says that she shows up, she fights, she's reached a point that she can't keep doing it, she's raising girls, and the life that she wants for them feels less and less accessible in this state. She realizes that she's leaving, her leaving is a major privilege. A lot of people can't do that. It's sad, but she's not taking the bait and she's moving on. And so then they go on through and talk to other people, how the map diminishes Memphis. in all of this. So I am excited to see how the Tennessee Tennessee Realtors Association, or Association of Realtors, TAR, and our local board, Memphis Area Association of Realtors, respond to this. Maybe not this particular article, but this issue, because it has long been something that I have had to contend with, and a lot of agents I have found don't even know that they can forego giving those dollars to RPAC. And I actually do before and I try every year to donate to them, but each year the people that they're picking to support are wildly different from, they don't have any of the values, and are not concerned with any of the things that I am concerned with as a constituent living in the city. For me, it's more than about voting for just the real estate industry. I'm voting for people. I'm voting for myself. I'm voting for your future as well. That's what I think when I go into the voting booth. And so, when I see people that aren't aligned with those kind of, with the values that I have, I just can't support. So as much as I love and respect this agent who, brought that to me, I cannot, as long as they are doing the things that they're doing, which were clear to me, at the onset, I cannot support them. And I would love to know what you guys feel about it. Like, are these agents taking this too far? Do you think that we should be making our local and state boards hold organizations accountable when they violate our ethics? And what does that really, look like? Who's going to police that? So that's the first story that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, was that, Tennessee is making some waves there, and it does look like people are not going to just take a lot of the things that we see are happening as lying down. The other thing is that I wanted to do is, I think this is it. Yes. I thought that this is actually a video. I will play it on a later thing. I've already had you guys in for about an hour now, so I'm going to cut it off here. But this is an article that if you guys want me to print it and make copies of it or email you copies, I will. But Jimmy Burgess, as you guys know, I really appreciate him. And a lot of things that he tries to teach. And in this video, he talks about 5 brutal real estate truths he wished someone had shared with him sooner. Then he says after more than 3 decades in real estate, he's learned a lot of lessons. And, some of the lessons came from success, some came from mistakes. There are a handful of truths that he wants to share. And so here they are. The first one is, every excuse has already been overcome by someone else. I love that. I've heard just about every excuse imaginable over the years. The market is too difficult. The interest rates are too high. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm not comfortable on video. I'm not a good writer. All those things. Whatever it is that could keep you from recognizing your fullest potential in this business. He's saying that all of those things have already been overcome by someone else. So you don't even have to invent the wheel. Just go and find the solution that most resembles the kind of success that you want, and then you can mirror that. The next thing that he says is rarely the best agent who does the most business. Is almost always the most well known. And that's what I was saying in my last podcast to you guys, which is that I'm a community based person. I like volunteering and things like that. That's where I'm comfortable in the community. You need to figure out where you're comfortable in the community and make sure that you are, exposing yourself. And what I mean by exposing yourself, I mean exposing your business in a positive way to the community. Have something that helps you to stick out. It doesn't have to be that you're the only one doing something. You could be doing something that someone else is doing, but doing it just a little bit different or just a little better. And that would be all that you need to, have your business explode. So You should become knowledgeable, but you don't have to just be an expert. If you want to be known, you have to be intentional about that. And he's telling you some things to do. Like I said, show up consistently on social media, be known for a specific neighborhood or niche, get involved in your community, volunteer, join organizations, sponsor events, answer questions that people are already asking, these type of things. The database you're ignoring is probably worth more than the leads you're buying, and that's probably true. So yesterday, I uploaded about 3,800 contacts that I have been sitting on for years into this new system that I'm working on, and I got 96 responses from that this morning. And I did not use AI. And so there's, that's another issue. A lot of agents have a follow-up problem. We don't want to call people back. We don't want to make the initial cold call. If someone feels like it's going to be hard to get them closed, we drop them. We don't want to follow up with them. And I'm here to tell you, especially if you're a new agent, those little bitty deals, those hard little deals that seem like they're hard, that's where you learn. You don't learn on the big, beautiful deals where, somebody's buying $500,000 property and they've bought 4 houses before and they know what they know. Like, the way that you learn is to work with those people who, have had to overcome something, or they're new to the market. This was their first time buying a property, something like that. Relationships compound just like interest. So one of the greatest surprises of his career was discovering how powerful relationships can become over time. And some of the biggest opportunities that he's ever had have come from those simple relationships that didn't seem important. So that absolutely is the case with me as well. I get a lot of my clients because people know me to be a problem solver. That's what people know me to be. And so if people approach someone and say, I have this problem for real estate and I can't seem to get it done, then that usually means that I'm going to get a call from someone like that. I get calls like that almost every day. And so it is a responsibility, I feel, that I should, be able to provide, and not an answer, but a way to get the answer for themselves. And so that means a lot to me. That's number 4. And then number 5, the biggest obstacle to your business is usually staring back at you in the mirror. So this may be the hardest truth of all. You can blame everything, but it's actually you who is your biggest obstacle, because if you're not going above and beyond, if you're not doing the things you need to do to promote and produce more business anyway, in spite of, if you're letting things stop you that don't necessarily have to stop you, if you're in your head and you're psyching yourself out with all of these, negative what ifs and what could happen, then eventually you will create a certain level, or can create a certain level of paralysis in yourself that you're not doing anything. And if you're not doing anything, you're definitely not going to make any money. And so my advice is to keep your head down, run your own race. Real estate can become a very lonely business, so make sure that you're connecting with people. I would say have someone that has been at it a long time, that wants, doesn't mind the companionship and the camaraderie. They don't mind the mentoring that you may require. And then, if they give that to you free, then you absolutely pass that on to someone coming behind you. And before you know it, you'll have a village. I kind of feel like once I got to Best Real Estate, that's kind of what happened to me. I met one person who brought me into their village. And then from there, I've been able to grow and thrive and create a village of my own, so to speak. And so, yeah, these are just some of the things that I thought it would be great to talk to you guys about today, in addition to all that you heard on that podcast. I hope that you guys are having an awesome, awesome summer. I hope that this information that I'm providing to you is information that you really are working to use. And I hope that you guys are, in fact, building your pipelines deep and wide so that you can have a sustained, successful real estate career throughout the rest of your days. And with that being said, I'd like to thank you guys so much for joining me again. And I will see you next time on the Best Real Estate Company's Friday Focus. Ta-ta now.